All right, and welcome back to the Movie Pope podcast. And today we are going to be doing a review of the Dune Part 2 trailer. Now, Lee, you mentioned you saw this once already, right?
I Yes, I think so. Uh, don't really remember too much about the trailer. If I saw, I think I just kind of was like, "Oh, cool, Dune 2 trailer," and then yeah. So it'll almost be a first watch for me.
Well, that's one more time than me because I haven't seen it at all. So this is
Oh,
going to
holy
be
crap! All
brand
right.
new. So, all right, let's go ahead and get into it.
This world is beyond cruelty. You've been fighting the Harkonnens for decades. My family's been fighting them for centuries. They were massacred alongside my father.
Your father didn't believe in revenge. We believe in Fremen.
Let me fight beside you.
Reload! He said
I got that. Thanks.
I won't be fighting for him. I'm fighting for my people.
You young pup.
Do you believe in Pope?
Glitter science. The prophet. Why is that a bad thing? Use it.
Because all my visions lead to horror.
Because you lose control.
Because I gain it. Johnny, do you believe in me?
Paul Atreides is still alive.
Oh my God, Christopher Walken's there. How old is
Deal
Christopher
with this
Walken?
prophet. Show me who you are. Your father. Was a weak man. Look who's back from the dead.
I will do what must be done.
We gave them something to hope for.
That's not hope!
I will love you as long as I breathe.
This prophecy is how they enslave us!
It's not a prophecy. It's a story.
I don't care what you believe. I believe. I am Paul Muad'Dib Atreides, Duke of Arrakis. Under the Messiah's
He who can destroy a thing has the real control of it.
So, yeah, Christopher Walken, huh?
Yeah, that was definitely. I did see his name pop up at the beginning, and there he was on the screen. Yeah, I mean, gosh, like I can't remember the last time I really saw Christopher Walken and laugh. So that was a very interesting to see him come up on the screen now. So yeah, I guess we'll see how that goes.
But yeah, we also saw several other people. We saw obviously Josh Brolin,
Yes.
Javier Bardem. He played the bearded
Mhm.
guy. Obviously Rebecca Ferguson as Paul's mother. Dave Bautista, and I think that was Stellan Skarsgård, who was that pale dude.
Yes.
And then I guess the other Skarsgård, who's the other pale dude with the knives. He kind of,
Yeah.
he kind of looks like the guy who played Gramont in John Wick 4. I could be wrong on that. So what are your overall thoughts about that trailer?
I mean, it definitely looks interesting. I mean, I think, from a just be able to do a interesting large world building experience like Dune, because the first one obviously I think has kind of that like cult following to it. I don't believe it came with a whole lot of acclaim when it came out. So them be able to kind of doing it nowadays with better resources, and better special effects and everything like that. I mean, it definitely has my interest. I mean, like you mentioned, there's quite a cast there. Not to mention, Timothy Chalamet, right? Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Zendaya as well. So I mean, they have quite a cast with it. So I mean, interested in it. I'm interested to see what they do with it. So it definitely looks interesting. Looks very deserty. So I guess we'll see how that goes.
Well, I know I know from the older movie. What was it, from '84 or something?
Yep, that sounds
Um,
about right.
yeah, and basically they're trying to remain faithful to to that, as well as to the novel that's based on. Um, I mean, do you have any high hopes for that movie, because it comes out in November?
Yeah. I saw the first one, right? And, I think it kind of set things up. I think it kind of, it's hard when you have, multiple part movies. You have to kind of pick a good place to end. And it was kind of weird how that one left off. But, I thought the first one was pretty decent. So I'm interested to see what they do from here. So it has not given me any reason to believe that it's not going to be any good. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, with the way movies are these days, rather than come up with something new, they're just gonna, kind of try to do a franchise building thing, like we've seen with other franchises. Um, Now I have now I'll be honest with you, I have not seen the first Dune movie. I saw bits and pieces of the one from '84, or the one from the '80s. So so I'll definitely need to hop onto it and watch that.
Yep.
But I mean, just judging from the trailer, I mean, obviously they're going for that epic look. I mean, what movie nowadays isn't going for that epic feel? Um,
They even
I
threw some black and white in there, just to feel more like they're trying to add that epicness, right? So got a little black and white in there during that one fight sequence.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how I feel about that, because I mean, it kind of just takes you out of the moment. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you're just gonna have it, with one filter, just keep it at that filter. Don't try switching back and forth. But I'm willing to I'm willing to give it a shot. I mean, I'll definitely go and see it. When it comes out in November, and then we can obviously do a review of that. When that comes out. Do you I mean, do you have any high hopes that it'll be better than the Craven movie, the trailer we saw a few weeks ago?
Yes. Is that real question?
I'm
Yes,
just
yes. I have much higher hopes for this movie than I have for Craven. Yes, I would. I feel like I could safely bet on that. So I don't have my faith in Craven is extremely low. Dunes is definitely pretty high. So yes, I feel like Dune Part Two will beat out Craven both financially and in both critical acclaim.
excellent. Well, was there anything else you wanted to add before we sign off?
No, I just like I said, I think it's a cool trailer. I'm excited to see what they want to do with it. I know a little bit about the universe. I've tried to get a little bit into Dune and everything like that. I did see the original one that came out, and watched the first part of this one. So I am interested to see what they do with it. So I think the first one does a great job of kind of creating this like world, like you really get engaged with it. So I'm excited to see what they do with the second part here. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. Looking forward to how they kind of move forward from the story from here.
So next Wednesday is the world premiere of Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part One.
Yeah.
So obviously we're gonna catch that movie the Saturday of that week. So next Saturday. What are your well, whenever we do get around seeing, let's just put it
Yes,
that way.
thank you. Better answer.
What so just real quickly, what are your what are your thoughts? What are your hopes? What are your aspirations for this upcoming movie?
I mean, I should be great. I mean, I've like the initial reviews for it have been extremely high. Also has Rebecca Ferguson in it. So she's having quite a lot of big movies coming out right now. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I think those Mission Impossible movies have really gotten better and better. I think the original one was really strong. I think kind of the second and third of the older Mission Impossible movies were kind of, they weren't great, but I think they were decent. I think the third one was, pretty decent. I wasn't a huge fan of the second one. But then the kind of recent resurgence that they've had, I think has been really good. So I think I'm excited to see what they do with this one. And, it's once again another 2-part movie, which is interesting. So now we're watching Dune Part 2, and we'll be watching Mission Impossible Part 1. So gonna be interesting to see how they do that. But I definitely feel like Mission Impossible has earned that trust. And I think, as we're talking about it, Rotten Tomatoes has it, 99%?
Yeah.
Don't know too many movies I can think of that have reviews like that, especially for something as big as this is. Like, this is not like, occasionally you'll see that in, smaller things because there's not a whole lot of people that are reviewing it. To have a 99% is, I think, really impressive. So I think that just kind of gives me a bit more hope as well around what they're going to be able to do with this movie.
But I mean, like Mission Impossible overall, it's been a pretty solid franchise.
Oh, for sure.
So
Yep.
I mean, so really, it would be an anomaly if, if it tanked in the box office, which we don't think it will. But I mean, I definitely do feel like there's a lot of high expectations for this movie, and and rightly so, because it's building off of what we've seen, over the past few years with previous iterations of that movie. So
yeah, no, and I mean, I think it speaks really strongly to. I mean, we've seen a lot of, I think Marvel we've seen kind of falter over the years, where that's been a sure thing, and it's been kind of going downhill. Disney movies I feel like are kind of in a similar boat, where we're kind of recreating things, and we're seeing that kind of struggling. The new Indiana Jones struggling at the box office, Flash struggling at the box office. So we see a lot of these things happening, and I think what happens with Mission Impossible, I think, will be kind of a really big thing to see what happens. It's getting a whole lot of acclaim. Will that hopefully result in those high ticket sales? Because we've seen a lot of things underperforming right now, and I think it's just kind of a reflection of maybe people being tired of seeing the same things rehashed. And while Mission Impossible obviously not giving us anything crazy new, but I think they've come up with a lot of really interesting ways of kind of giving us the spy genre following Ethan Hunt and his crew. So we'll see how this one goes, but definitely things are at least pointing in a positive direction. So hopefully that is maintains that reality.
But I mean, to be fair, I mean, the franchise itself has pretty much kept its formula very simple. I mean,
Yes.
and obviously, the simpler it is, the more successful it will be. I mean, with franchises like Marvel and DC, they've pretty much gone off the rails with this whole multiverse thing. And let's try this. Let's try to include diversity and all that stuff. And really, it's come back to bite them in the ass, because it's no longer this simple formula of superheroes beating villains. Now it's the superhero has to go through some sort of midlife crisis, whereas here Ethan Hunt's pretty much right where we left right where we left him. I mean, there's really not much change, and in a way that's sort of comforting because it provides this escapism. It's like we can go to the movie theater, watch Mission Impossible, and know Ethan Hunt is going to do what he does best.
Yeah.
And there's nothing convoluted about it. It's just pure simple action spy movies going on. So I have pretty high hopes for for Dead Reckoning Part 1, and I definitely know I'm going to see Part 2 as well. And then Oppenheimer comes out later on this month, so that's going to be a pretty interesting movie to watch as well. And we'll definitely offer our take on that movie once we've seen it.
Yes.
But yeah, for the movie Pope, that'll be it for this episode. If there are any trailers that you want us to do a reaction video to, please leave them down in the comment section below, and we will do our best to get around to it. But for the time being, I'm Lucas Suon.
I'm Lee Suchek.
And you've been watching the Movie Pope podcast. Take it easy, guys. Bye.